Guess what? You have the confidence inside of you already to achieve any musical goal that you want, including auditioning. So, how do you hone your confidence? Well, my friend, that is with the Confident Musician's Audition Guide. This guide is to get you from the practice room to on the stage for your auditions. We talk about everything, including planning your practice, that's in Chapter 1, working with accompanists in Chapter 3, getting into the zone at auditions, that's in Chapter 5. Chapter 2 is all about mental practice, setting up mock auditions, and basically everything about mock auditions in Chapter 4, and auditioners, which is scattered throughout the whole guide, and a load more. Seriously, this 43-page guide is my baby. I have poured my heart and soul into this to make sure it is exactly what you need for your auditions. So whether you are just about to go into your auditions, thinking about how you are going to start auditioning, or just curious about how auditioning works, this guide is for you. Let's be honest, the auditioning process might be a short process, but the effects of it can be life-changing. So invest in you, and let's make this the audition season of confidence. Let's get you auditioning with confidence. Check out the show notes for the link to your copy, or visit confidentmusicianing.com. I stopped and I remember thinking, okay, that's it for a week. Wow, let's go. And it was so good. The week off was so extremely good. Hello and welcome to the Confident Musicianing Podcast. My name is Eleanor and I am a British American oboist studying at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. Literally my dream school. And it took me a long way to get there. I applied and auditioned for 12 schools in 3 different countries. It was a lot of hard work. But oh my gosh, so worth it. I want you to have the confidence to work hard in achieving your goals. So come with me as we go on this journey together. So sit down, pull up a chair, take a seat, or if you're on the go, welcome to the Confident Musicianing Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to another episode. Oh my gosh, if you're listening to this, let me just tell you, I am in a nice warm jumper. I have my tea with me. It is a lovely, lovely, lovely sunny day, which does not happen a lot in Scotland, but it's happening today, and I'm so grateful for it. And you know what? It's crazy because when the sun is up this time of year, it is usually yellow and golden. The sunlight is golden, and I think it's because the sun doesn't really rise that much in the sky, so it's kind of like a sunset at all times, almost, in terms of the light, and it's just always so golden. And then the buildings are like, a lot of them are shades of brown, but like really nice reddish browns, and it makes everything look so amazing. So that is how I am coming into this episode today, with coziness, with gratitude for beauty around me, and also with a cup of tea. So let's dive into this episode. This is quite an interesting episode to do and a thing to talk about because I didn't realize I would be doing this, but at about, I don't know, in early December, my teacher and I were talking about Christmas break, about winter break, and he said, you should take the whole week of Christmas off of the oboe. And I almost just stopped, like, what? Like, I was so shocked. I was so shocked and surprised. I was like, how, what? Like, that's crazy. I've never done that. And he was like, yeah, no, totally go for it. He was like, if you took the whole break off, school, because the break for me was about 3 weeks, he was like, that would be too long. But just take the week off, and he was like, it would be good for you to do that. I think it'll help you. And so I was like, you know what? That sounds so crazy to me, but maybe I do need this break. And I did it. I did it, and I was super nervous beforehand. Literally, so the week that I took was from Monday to Sunday. And so the Sunday before that Monday that I was practicing, I was practicing so much. Like I had this week off that was ahead of me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I needed to make up for that practice. So I really practiced a lot. And I remember being in my flat, and it was like 8 p.m. and I realized it was 8 p.m. and I thought I should stop practicing because my neighbors will like that. Like, it's getting late. I don't think my neighbors will like this very much. So I stopped, and I remember thinking, okay, that's it for a week. Whoa, let's go. And it was so good. The week off was so extremely good. And it was interesting because when my teacher said this, I immediately in my mind was like, this is a podcast episode. Like this, I want to talk about this on the podcast. I want to share this with you because I think it's going to be a really interesting and valuable, hopefully, experience. And I had planned to record this episode about a week ago. And when I sat down to record this episode last week, I thought, you know what? I don't think that I'm ready to record this episode. It had been about a week since I had started playing oboe again, and I was like, I feel like I need a little bit more time to reflect and think about the things that I want to talk about, because I don't think I've finished learning from this situation and this experience. So we are here now, and we're going to chat about it. So I have 3 things that I realized about this experience and that I want to share with you, especially if you are considering taking a break from your instrument for maybe a week or however long, or maybe you did take a break during the winter break, but for whatever reason, let's dive into these 3 points. So the first thing is, I realized how much I needed it. I really needed it. I remember the first Monday of break, and at this point I was still practicing, right? Because I had 3 weeks off, and the middle week was the week of Christmas. So this was the first week, and I was still practicing. But this was the first Monday that I didn't have some class or something in the morning. And usually on Mondays I wake up at 7:30, maybe 7:45, maybe 8 sometimes. And that's when I woke up. And this was the first Monday that I didn't have anything booked. And I woke up, it was something like 11. I slept in. And I felt so tired and so drained. And the idea of literally doing anything at all just made me really tired. Just the thought of it. And that was interesting for me. I thought, this is interesting. I think I'm burnt out. Because the immediate chance that I had to be able to rest and do something, and I had planned things before. I was like, I want to do this fun thing, and I've always wanted to try this, and blah blah blah, and I just had no energy. So I thought, you know what, I think this week off of oboe is going to be really helpful, and it was. I felt so tired when thinking about my oboe. And I think as musicians, a lot of us tend to, if we feel that way about our instruments, we might not talk about it. But in this space, this Confident Musicianing podcast space, we can talk about these things. I felt so tired, and I did not want to touch my oboe. I was so tired. And that shocked me, but there was also a part of me that was like, I kind of knew that would happen. I kind of knew that would happen. So that's something that's interesting that has come about of all of this. Yeah, it was crazy. I really needed it. So if you are taking a break, or maybe you're thinking about it, maybe bear that in mind, especially if you're like, oh, I want a break but I can't, or maybe I don't actually need it. Maybe you do need it and you don't realize, because I needed it and I didn't realize. Alright, the next thing, and I think this is probably one of my favorite things that happened, was I became more musical. when I didn't play my oboe for a week, I in myself became more musical. Instead of stressing about exam excerpts or audition pieces or all of the things that I was focused on when I was practicing, I became more experimental in my head. Melodies started coming in, appearing in my mind, and just all of these things started to happen. And I started to think about melodies and harmonies and ideas for things, and all of a sudden I had so many ideas, and I literally had kind of like a list of things that I was like, okay, when I play my oboe again next week, we're gonna try this and this and this and this. And that's kind of what happened that Monday. I was slowly getting into things, and I had decided not to, fully go right back in, because I wanted to kind of lean into it a bit and slowly get back, to where I was. And so basically that Monday, that's what I did. I just kind of did the experiment stuff that I was thinking about all week. But I became so much more musical. Though that was the week of Christmas, I was listening to a lot of Christmas songs. I also was listening to John Baptiste's Beethoven Blues. If that's something that you have not heard of, look it up. It's like the best. It's the best. But it was very interesting in the idea that I was listening to this album, and I also wasn't practicing my oboe. Like, I was intentionally taking this week off of my oboe. So I was listening to this album, and I was getting ideas from it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so interesting. Like, the basic idea of this album is it's Beethoven, but with blues in it. So it's so interesting. But so I was listening to that, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I was coming up with ideas from it and being inspired by it, and I was like, I want to try this with different things, maybe not just Beethoven, but also like oboe pieces as well. And I couldn't. I couldn't practice. Like, I had intentionally set this time aside to be rest from the oboe. And so it just percolated in my brain, and it was so helpful, because then when I got back to the oboe, I had these ideas. I had a feeling of freshness, and also a feeling of excitement and kind of genuine curiosity, almost like a kid that doesn't know what things are. You know what I mean? Like, kids are curious. Kids are not nervous. Kids tend to be really excited about things and ready to mess up. And that's kind of how I was with the oboe when I came back. So that's something that was interesting. I also, it was Christmas, I was listening to a lot of Christmas songs. Christmas songs tend to have kind of like a general, the same melodies and rhythms and things. You have basic Christmas songs, and then everyone put their own spin on it. I love jazz, so I listen to a lot of Christmas jazz. And that was really interesting, and then that kind of created more ideas in my mind, musically wise. And when I got back to the oboe, I was able to do that. Even though it was after Christmas, I was like, I want to play all the Christmas songs that have been stuck in my head for a week, and I want to try on the oboe. So that was really interesting. I became much more musical. I was so inspired and so kind of not stressed about that, which is really interesting, especially right now I have exams coming up. I am practicing scales. I am memorizing things. I am, practicing. I have so many etudes and extracts and all of these things that I have to do for the exam, and I am quite stressed about that, to be honest. But this week I was able to kind of take a step back and be curious and almost childlike with music, which I think was so good. All right, the last thing is, when I came back, I thought I had gotten worse, but what actually happened was my ear had gotten better. Whoa. Let's just take a step back from that. And this is part of the reason why I didn't record this episode last week, because last week I had thought that I had gotten worse, and I was really sad, and I was really struggling, and I was like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have taken that break. I feel like I'm worse. I feel like, blah, blah, blah. And then after a few days, I started to realize, hold on, I don't think I'm getting worse, because I was listening to myself, and I was, all of these things. I was like, I don't think I've gotten worse. I think my ear has gotten better, because I started to hear things that I hadn't heard before. And that was interesting. And I brought this to my teacher, And the teacher who told me to do this, to do the break, and I told him, I was like, I thought I had gotten worse, but actually I think what happened was my ear had gotten better. And he was like, this is great. This is great because now you can move on to the next stages of your musical journey. I am moving from the American style of oboe playing to the European style of oboe playing, and there's a lot of stuff involved with that, including stuff like intonation, stuff like where you center the note, how you attack the note with your air, air stream, air direction are all different. And having a better ear is really helpful to kind of figuring out what I need to work on and how I can work on it. So since then, my teacher has given me, we got an email. Sorry. Since then, my teacher has given me so many good strategies and ideas for continuing this now that my ear has gotten better. But that was something that was really scary. Like this time last week, I was really scared. I thought I had gotten worse. And especially because I have exams coming up in the next month, I was like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done this. But actually my ear has gotten better, and I think that is a great step, especially for the exams, to be able to be like, okay, now I know what I need to work on because I can hear it. And that was really helpful. So I think for you, if you are thinking about taking a break, resting is productive. I have gotten more musical, my ear has gotten better, I feel more rested, I feel more ready to dive into things, and I'm so grateful that I took that break because as well, I am now really busy. really busy. I'm currently in an ensemble that has a concert today actually, but this week has been full of rehearsals. After that, next week, I have so many rehearsals for, I'm in an opera, which, so exciting. But that's crazy, and there's so many rehearsals for that, even more than this ensemble that I'm in now. And so my oboe playing, I have played so much oboe in the past week or so. I feel like, whoa. And I feel like if I hadn't taken that break, I would be so burnt out that would really just not help anyone. So I think the break was so good. So thank you to my teacher. I know my teacher listens to this podcast. My teacher listens to this podcast. So if you're listening, thank you so much for for recommending the break, and it was so helpful. So if you as a listener are thinking about taking a break, I highly recommend it, especially if you need it. It's a good thing. Now, let's take a bit of a detour into the idea of practicing, because after your break, you're gonna have to practice, right? You're gonna have to practice. Now, the thing about practicing is you don't, sometimes when you're practicing, it can be extremely, you can feel so tired about it, you can feel so drained, so unmotivated. And one of the things that I thought, how can I help you be motivated to practice? And one of those things that I've come up with to help you be motivated to practice and feel like you are empowered and ready to go is the Confident Musicianing membership community. This is a membership community where we have so much support and so much encouragement for you as a musician. You get access to so many amazing things, including practice with me videos where we practice together so we can keep each other accountable, and you also get insights into how I practice for specific things. You also get access to behind the scenes videos of my journey as a musician, as well as a weekly chatty video where I just tell you some things that I really want to share with you about my musical journey. Also how-to videos for oboe playing, for music making, all of these things. There are live streams, Q&As, so many things, including an amazing community of like-minded musicians where we lift each other up. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in, please do click the link below and you can sign up. And I'll put the link in the description in the show notes, and you can join the Confident Musicianing membership community now in 2025. All right, that is about it for this episode. Let's do a quick recap. First thing is, I realized how much I needed a break when I did it. I was so burnt out. It was so helpful. The second thing is, I became way more musical. I had melodies and rhythms in my head. I had things I wanted to try. I also had a new founded excitement for oboe. And the last thing is, when I came back, I thought I had gotten worse, but actually I had gotten better. Like, my ear had gotten better. So, and that was the next step in me being able to get better at my oboe, because now I can hear things that I might not have been able to hear before. What a valuable thing. So, yeah. That is about it for this episode. Thank you so much for being here. If you are thinking about taking a break, I wish you the best rest. I wish you all the best with your resting. And yeah, I hope that is good. As always, all of the links will be down below in the show notes in the description, including the blog post that goes with this episode, as well as the link to the Confident Musicianing membership community. There we go. The Confident Musicianing membership community. That's it. Yeah, and as always, I will see you in the next episode. All right, take care. Bye bye.